Hunter-gathering is the oldest and longest-lasting human survival strategy. Hunter-gathering involves human beings foraging for plants and animals for food, and this lifestyle dominated human history for over 90% of humanity's existence. What is hunter-gathering? Why do human beings do it? And why is it still practiced today? This is a deep dive into one of humanity's most profound survival behaviours. You're watching All Things Humanities. Human beings are built to survive. We get hungry when we don't eat, we get thirsty when we don't drink, and we strive for well-being and a sense of purpose. Hunter-gathering fulfills these needs as human beings forage for wild plants and animals for food. Hunter-gathering began roughly 1.8 million years ago with Homo erectus. Homo erectus was an extinct species of human that lived around 2 million years ago. They originated in Africa and began migrating into Europe, Asia, and as far as Australia. This took place over hundreds of thousands of years. On the other hand, modern human beings, which we call Homo sapiens, adopted hunter-gathering about 200,000 years ago when our species first appeared. Hunter-gathering was humanity's most successful adaptation to the natural world and stayed as the dominant form of human subsistence up until about 12,000 years ago. This changed when agriculture and animal domestication began in Southwest Asia and Mesoamerica, which we now call Mexico and Central America. A key quality of hunter-gatherers is that they do not grow their own food. Instead, they are nomadic, meaning that they move around and therefore forage around within an area to gather supplies. Hunter-gatherers use various tools, including stone blades, to help them hunt for a particular animal. These types of animals, of course, depend on the geography of the hunter-gatherer. If you are hunter-gathering in Mesoamerica, for example, you would look for animals in the region like armadillos and wild boars. Hunter-gatherer societies typically consist of small, mobile groups of 10 to 12 adults and children. In some cases, they can be as large as 100 individuals in a particular group. Generally speaking, hunter-gatherer societies have low population densities, typically ranging from 0.2 to 10 people per square mile. To give you an idea of how small this is, modern-day Paris in France has about 52,000 people per square mile. That's a whopping 5,200 times more dense than hunter-gatherer societies. Hunter-gatherers don't grow their food because they follow an immediate return behavior where resources are used immediately. This is very different to agricultural societies where food is stored. Hunter-gatherers also move around to follow food sources, making it difficult to partake in agriculture. This is because agriculture involves staying in a particular location to ensure the crops have enough time to grow and are tended to properly. Hunter-gatherer societies often lack formal leadership structures. While some individuals can be recognized for their wisdom or skills, there are usually no chiefs or kings. There are also no central authorities that dictate how their society functions. However, in most hunter-gatherer societies, men are typically responsible for hunting larger game, while women and children gather plant foods, small animals, and other resources. For the most part, this is because men are physically bigger, stronger, and faster, and performing these tasks is much easier for men. However, the idea of men hunting for larger game is not true of all hunter-gatherer societies. We do have evidence that the Agtar women from the Philippines hunted with knives, bows, and arrows. We also have evidence that the Hadza women from northern Tanzania would even hunt for large game. On the whole, large game hunting is done by men because of their physical advantages. Nonetheless, women mainly partook in gathering, which involves collecting wild plant foods such as fruits, nuts, and seeds. And it also included fishing, which incorporates using aquatic resources in coastal areas, rivers, and lakes. A key feature of hunter-gatherers is that they live a subsistence lifestyle. This means that the purpose of hunter-gathering is to ensure the survival of their community and not to produce a food surplus. A food surplus is where a society produces more food than is needed. and it allows human beings to specialize in producing a particular product or specializing in a particular practice, like the military or craftsmanship. This is the reason why hunter-gatherers do not specialize, because their primary focus of daily life is ensuring that their society can eat. Hunter-gatherers are not interested in gathering large amounts of food and selling it to other groups. They are primarily concerned with feeding their society. At the same time, there are sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which shows that hunter-gatherers had built a large settlement with megalithic structures. As we said before, most hunter-gatherer societies are often non-hierarchical, with a limited focus on gathering wealth. There is often a strong emphasis on sharing in hunter-gatherer societies, which ensures resources flow through the community. This also happens because of the nomadic lifestyle of hunter-gatherers, and it makes it difficult for them to accumulate possessions because they are difficult to transport. There is some evidence that suggests that hunter-gatherers had forms of religion. The oldest and most fundamental religious belief among hunter-gatherers was animism. Animism is the belief that all natural objects and the universe itself possess a spirit or a soul. In animistic religions, supernatural beings may appear as natural objects like lightning or specific rocks and stones. With this in mind, hunter-gatherers also practice shamanism, where individuals would enter trance states to interact with the spiritual world. Shamans would also perform rituals including healing, sorcery, rainmaking, and divination. Shamans aimed to enter altered states of consciousness through drumming, singing, dancing, and also physical exhaustion. It's worth noting that shamanism may have played a key role in the transition from hunting and gathering to farming in Southwest Asia as a way to cope with the uncertainty of climate and economic changes. Hunter-gatherer religions were often polytheistic, featuring many gods that were often playful and would intervene in the lives of the gatherers. It's important to remember that their religious life was not arranged in a power hierarchy like we see in contemporary religions today. While shamans were present, they did not hold the same power as, say, the church. For the most part, hunter-gatherers were generally practical people and did not embrace too much magic or superstition. Their religious ceremonies were often more about embracing reality than trying to change it. There was also no real dogmas in hunter-gatherer religion. Different groups could have varying stories and practices without offending one another. A good example of this is Aboriginal Australian hunter-gatherers with their Dreamtime stories. Dreaming stories would change depending on clans, language groups, and geography. We do have evidence that hunter-gatherers created sculptures for religious purposes. A good example of this is Lion Man, an ivory statuette found in Germany that depicts a human figure with a lion's head. When hunter-gatherers create something that has part human and part animal features, it is often associated with supernatural beliefs and shamanic practices. It's also worth noting that creating Lion Man would have taken roughly 400 hours to make using Stone Age tools. The large time commitment implies that the sculpture had great importance for its creators, and these hunter-gatherers saw extreme value in it. After all, these hunter-gatherers balanced their need to secure food with sculpting this particular figurine. Another key behavior within hunter-gatherer communities is resource sharing. This is where there is a mutual exchange and sharing of resources, particularly meat from hunting. This is a crucial aspect of hunter-gatherer communities, as it is often described as a gift economy. This is where the members of a community use goods and services that are given away instead of sold. In a gift economy, there's no expectation of immediate or future rewards. Instead, hunter-gatherers do this as the basis of spreading wealth within their society and looking out for one another. This is vastly different to how capitalistic markets work, where goods are exchanged voluntarily for something in return. The ethos behind the gift economy is communitarian and not liberal and individualistic like contemporary Western economies. When it comes to life expectancy, roughly 57% of hunter-gatherers reach the age of 15, with a life expectancy between 21 to 37 years for those who survive adolescence. Approximately 70% of deaths are due to diseases, 20% from violence, or evidence from 10% showing death from degenerative diseases. Once again, the modern world does not face these problems because our food surplus means we can specialize and take time to produce medicines. Hunter-gatherers only need to work for about 2 to 3 hours a day to ensure sufficient food for everyone. This leaves substantial time for leisure activities. It's interesting to consider that in the modern world, people work between 7 to 8 hours per day on average, which is very different to the hunter-gatherer working life. While hunter-gatherer societies have largely been replaced by agricultural and industrial societies, some groups still continue to practice this lifestyle. However, these remaining groups face ongoing pressure from expanding agricultural communities and the loss of traditional lands. This is because capitalism and industrialization works as a force, meaning that functioning in a society where technology and devices are needed to progress, traditional hunter-gatherer societies are not very competitive and they often struggle to keep up. Hunter-gatherer societies have provided valuable insights into human social organization, diet, and also our adaptation to diverse environments. The study continues to inform our understanding of human evolution and how societies can develop. Hunter-gatherers are very aware of the finite resources that they live off. They also could survive in tough climates by intelligently allocating resources, building shelters out of wood, stone, and ice, and using animal hides and plant fibers for clothes. Hunter-gatherers would even use food preservation techniques like drying, smoking, and fermenting to prevent food shortages during leaner seasons. At Star Car, a Mesolithic site in North Yorkshire, hunter-gatherers maintained their way of life despite 2 significant climate events that caused temperature drops of 10 degrees Celsius. When not hunting and gathering, hunter-gatherers relax by playing games, talking to one another, and also exchanging gifts. But that brings us to the end of this video on hunter-gathering. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider subscribing and liking the video for more content like this.